argue, I ain't gonna fight. I gave up on doing the other night. Everything's wrong, everything stinks. The only thing that broke a hallelujah is the kitchen sink.
Right. Ancestry.
Unmuted.
Here we are. Hey, is that us?
That's us.
Who are you?
Hey, folks. Big Ed Barnum here from Big Ed Barnum's Bauble Barn and Garden.
And Cole Screaming Eagle Wilson from Cole Screaming Eagle Wilson's Ejection Seat, the only Tex-Mex, Laotian cuisine, English, authentic English fish and chippery,
with a very
important message for you.
We're supposed to say it at the same time.
Well, I think we did pretty. You want to try it again?
No, we'll just get it.
You want to try it next week?
So hopefully you've joined us for Spring into Happy Hour. I think this is the 8th time we've done this. The title of this episode is, I'm just going to do it, Tonight's Episode.
Tonight on the show for us.
I've been watching the Rockford Files. So
tonight, Angel's going to be in a pickle.
Tonight's episode, the old man in the seafood truck.
Yeah,
I'll get past it. So hopefully you're easing into the weekend. I'm going to ease into this Rainier right here. You know, it's like honeybees got into like a mountain spring and just sort of made some delicious beverage. Sorry, I'm just gonna. Yeah,
it's honey and malty and bee.
So it's Rainier. Some folks are just joining. Welcome.
Howdy.
Anyway, happy hour has arrived. The salad bar is open. We got Doc Maynard's hot. What do you call these? Cherry peppers. These are a little mild, and we also got Summer America Barnum's special pickled eggs. I've got a plate of them right here.
I didn't know that Summer made those.
It's happy hour is for drinking and for snacks.
On them.
We both did a simultaneous drink there.
I know.
I'm not sure that's ever happened. Cole, would you like a plate for some peppers and pickled eggs?
I didn't know that your wife made those eggs, so I'm just going to respectfully decline because of gastrointestinal issues, not because pickled eggs are disgusting.
Pickled eggs are not disgusting. In fact, I'm just...
No, your wife's pickled eggs are the best. The best pickled eggs there are. And I had 2 jars of pickled eggs for lunch, so I'm full.
You know what I love about pickled eggs?
What do you love about pickled eggs,
Just
Ed?
damn near everything.
Yeah, yeah. All right.
I love their texture. It's like a kid's rubber ball with a delicious brine on it.
Halfway between a soft-boiled egg and a hockey puck.
All right. So, folks, we have a lot of stuff to get through tonight.
We're going to get to it.
So we're going to do what we always do, proof of live here with today's New York Times. We usually skip over the cover because there's... usually something depressing on it. Well, there's, the leaders of...
This reminds me of like when somebody's held hostage, when they got to hold up that paper.
Well, I told myself I was...
that they're still alive.
Well, I told myself I was going to skip that joke this week.
What joke?
What's the difference between a Reddit AMA and a hostage situation?
Search me.
The victim of one is apparently a volunteer.
Yeah, I get it, and I just tricked you. I guess you're going to retire that joke next time.
I guess so.
Sucker.
All right, so anyway, today's New York Times. Normally we skip the cover because it's usually depressing. There is something depressing on here, but I'm not going to bring it.
Is that one of the Three Stooges?
No, it's the two. Glasses? That's just an awful thing to say. Those are the 2 leaders of North and South Korea meeting. Well, but anyway, we do proof of live. You're following us on Facebook, and it says, if you're watching, it says live right in the corner. But, I know some folks are suspicious of things, so we always do proof of live with the New York Times. And, sometimes it's an obituary. Sometimes it's the weekend arts section.
I don't like when it's an obituary. That's
right back over here. Well, obituaries can be life-affirming in their own way. Oh, I think there was something I was going to read.
Confirming the opposite
here on the bottom here. Yeah, but, someone's life, in retrospect, can be quite uplifting.
Is this an article about the new Avengers movie? Because I ain't seen it yet.
All right, we've got a problem.
What's going on here? Broadcasting error. Connection.
In here.
Oh, excuse me.
All right, folks, had a little bit of an interruption there. Just going to see... if this goes back to...
They adjusted the matrix.
It should resume shortly.
Doug flew through here. It's 2 and then came back.
We are recording on discrete cameras, so if
there we go.
Happens,
hey, there we are.
I think we're good. I'm just not sure what happened. Anyway, we'll speed this up here. Weekend arts section. from the New York Times, there's a section, there's a article, just take the L train. It's about 12 different galleries you should visit this weekend. And I'm just going to read this really quick here. At Interstate Projects, that's a gallery, I'm just going to read this. At this gallery, the only spot of color in Cindy Jai Hai Kim's punchy mixed media show, Celibate Machine, aside from a glowing red exit sign in the bunker-like basement space, is a small pink silicone brick cast inside a can of Spam.
Hey!
Otherwise, and I've got a photo of it, I'll show it to you. Yeah. Otherwise, everything from a wall-sized graphite reproduction of Peter Bruegel's A Parable of the Blind minus the people, to a short video loop of a kissing couple who have rotoscoped into pulsing clouds. Everything is in black and white except for this pink.
Except for the Spam brick. Yeah.
By complicating an otherwise chilly investigation of cultural identity and depersonalized violence, that bit of pink makes all the difference. And what am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about this can of Spam that's just on a... I'll get a little closer here. Mm-hmm. It's just up against a...
Hey, look at that!
A vast void of concrete. Mm-hmm. And, you know, if I can say anything about art, the artist that works with Spam is an artist that's pulling at my heartstrings, my head strings, and all the stringy bits in my guts.
I got to say that any artist that works exclusively in the media of potted meat is a real devil. You know what I mean? Deviled hand. You know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
That stuff is not only delicious, as Spam is, but the mystery of what's actually in it, combined with the mystery of what kind of spices are going on, always transport me to another level.
So, folks, I
feel
realize...
like I'm sitting on a shelf against a concrete wall, so that's apt.
So, folks, I realize we've been on mute for about 2 minutes now. We're finally unmuted. We'll fix all of this in post when we post the recorded version of the thing. Anyway, that's proof of live. Hopefully we're past... we're not even drunk yet. We're just a couple of jackasses that don't know how to run anything.
Ed. All right.
I have a feeling this pickled egg...
Eat the egg.
It might just be cursed. All right.
Let's move on. I thought you said we were going to pick up the pace this week.
All right, we're going to pick up the pace right now. Folks, if you know me, I know what you're wanting to ask me. Big Ed Barnum.
You're right. Hey, they're wanting to ask Big Ed, where have you been for the last 3 weeks? That's what they were wanting to ask.
All right, that was not the
I know it's not what you're putting onto them by transference, but I know what they want to ask. What would be interesting is to find out, Ed, where have you been for the last 3 weeks?
Well, I've been in Los Angeles. I took a little short vacation.
Mm-hmm. La La Land.
Just tooling around Southern California. Did a lot of stuff. I went to highfalutin dinner. It was a 20-course tasting menu. Yeah. Jose Andre. He just won the James Beard Foundation's...
Yeah, fascinating. I don't care much...
He won the Humanitarian Award, Cole, so I think we can give him...
for cooking food?
For cooking food in disaster-stricken areas.
All right, well, that's
Puerto
fine.
Rico. Anyway...
I ain't much for fine dining, unless I'm the one doing the cooking, right? Why don't you tell folks what else you did while you were in L.A.?
I went to the L.A. Times Festival of Books.
No, Ed, we're gonna spend 15 to 55 minutes jawing on about books. Why don't you tell everybody what else you did in L.A., Ed?
I went to the La Brea Tar Pits.
How about La Brea Tar Pits?
I lost a shoe.
No, Ed, tell them about the Warner Brothers studio.
Oh, okay. So I have a friend who works at Warner Brothers, and she hooked us up with the Warner Brothers VIP studio tour.
Yeah.
And it was a great time. I got to see some of the sound stages. I got to tour the back lots. There was a lot of picture cars. Those are the cars that actually appear in the picture on camera. Props. And it was, my favorite part of the entire experience was on the back lot. They have back lots that look like New York and
I know what structure,
Chicago and all kinds of places. But my favorite part of the back lots, there's a little section called... what is it called? I forgot what it was called.
Midwestern
Street. No, it's Midwestern Street.
Town. Lots of famous movies were shot there.
Right, but Midwestern Street, it's supposed to look like any part of a Midwestern town. Business on one side, residential on the other. So
Cool Hand Luke was shot there.
The opening of Cool Hand Luke, where he's
and Gilmore Girls.
Part of the Music Man,
Ed,
Bonnie and Clyde. There's a bank robbery.
Why don't you? Are you going to talk? Why don't you tell them about what the movie magic that you saw down there?
Well, I didn't see much of the Harry Potter stuff.
No, Ed, Harry Potter is real magic. I'm talking about movie magic. Tip all right. He's going. He either forgot or he's going to tiptoe around. Ed had the unique pleasure and experience of seeing a very special structure, a very special piece of movie magic, but also a reflection of the world and society. On that back lot on Warner Brothers, they got a house. And it's one house on one side and it's another house on the other side. And one house is Uncle Jesse's house, his shack from the Dukes of Hazzard. Now, you know Uncle Jesse, he lived a simple life, but he raised them Duke boys up good, right? So he's a man of great character, understand? And he was also the prospector on Grizzly Adams, which is a cool crossover. But on the other side of that house, you see, it was Boss Hogg's mansion. Yeah, Boss Hogg, the polar opposite, absolute antithesis of that man. Those two characters existing, those were the exteriors of the houses, right? Existing in the same space. Perfect example of the duality of man, right? Right there. Plus, that show had some awesome car chases, right? Oh, them Duke boys are in a lick of trouble now. Yep. You remember that? You remember that? And then they always made it over, but then, what was his name? Flash. Flash was the dog. They'd always land in the water. Good show.
I also saw the Michael Keaton Batmobile.
Never heard of him.
Anyway, spent some time in Los Angeles. We should probably get back to our first book. So, folks, I'm just going to talk about this very quickly. House of Broken Angels by Luis Alberto Urrea.
You can kick me out of here.
Yeah, get out of here for now.
Kick me out during book time.
House of Broken Angels. Folks, if you like big, sprawling, epic novels without a big, sprawling, epic page count, I think this is a book that you might be interested in. I got an autographed copy of it here. It's House of Broken Angels because there's two brothers. There's Big Angel, the older brother, and Little Angel, the younger brother. There's also Black Angel, which is one of the grandkids that just happens to be in a death metal band. But it's about siblings, and it's about absent parents. It's about growing up in a Mexican-American family on both sides of the border. And I just think it's a wonderful book. It's a Pulitzer Prize finalist. Not winner, but, you know, it's an honor to be nominated. I feel like a jerk now saying it. I feel like I've said something that I shouldn't have said. Anyway, I've never read any Luis Alberto Urrea before, and this novel is, I think, less than a month old now. I devoured this while I was in Los Angeles. So anyway, I'm just going to put it back over here for a second just so you can get a gander of it. The House of Broken Angels by Luis Alberto Urrea. And
ain't you a famous soccer player?
No, that's just an inappropriate thing to say, I think. No. You know what? Have you had any of these cherry peppers? No,
I haven't had any cherry peppers.
Well, I'm sure I'll have diarrhea later, but...
yeah, talk about an inappropriate thing to say on the live internet.
It's just a comment that I'm making.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I remember. If you have Rainier is a diarrhea preventative.
Not in my experience, but
those technical difficulties we had earlier in the show have just thrown me all off.
Mm-hmm. Because usually this is a well-oiled machine of information, presentation, and performance.
Well, it's
right?
it's definitely oiled.
On opposite day.
Now, folks, our second book, and the reason that we're doing this whole live stream today, the old man and the seafood truck, is because it's actually, I'm not sure if it's the 65th anniversary of the publication of The Old Man and the Sea, or if it's the 65th anniversary of it winning the Pulitzer Prize.
No, it won the Pulitzer.
But, and I didn't think about this until I had like half a beer in me on an empty stomach. But, the book now is about the same age as the character in the story. And it, you could just call it The Old Book, and the Man in the Sea. I don't know where I'm going with that.
Yeah,
but
they
folks,
ain't got the same ring.
Folks, we're talking about, of course, Ernest Hemingway's The Old Man in the Sea. You know, I picked this copy up used at Powell's Books, but somebody picked this book up at actually the Hemingway house down in Key West, probably as a gift for someone. So there's probably someone who didn't realize the value of this gift.
One shiny sticker.
Anyway, I'm way off anything that I thought I was going to say. Oh, I know. We put the title of this event up, I think about a month ago, The Old Man in the Seafood Truck. So, folks, I think a lot of people thought they're probably going to talk about the old man in the sea in some form or fashion. And we got a letter from somebody, an email. And we don't get a lot of correspondence. You know, we got one letter. There's a dirty limerick in it.
That was a good one.
Back in the holidays. And this is actually the first email we've ever received. And I just want to read this because I think it's, it's someone who took the time to write us an email. So
you want me to play some music or something?
No, just hang out for a second. This is an email that we received. Big Ed, before I invest time into reading The Old Man in the Sea, I want to know, will this story make me feel anything for my dying grandfather, a man who lived only for the ocean? I don't know why he liked the water. It wasn't for the fishing, I know that at least, but the ocean is where he was truly alive. It pains me that there's no marine hospice service that's set on a boat where a dying man with nothing but the salty sea in his veins can pass away over the blue horizon.
Grandpa would have liked that.
Somebody should make this happen. Big Ed, I want to feel. Sorry, it's there's a comma there. He doesn't want to feel me.
There's got to be some
I
sort
don't
of
think he wants to feel me.
punctuation.
He wants to
separating those two ideas.
He wants to
He
feel
does not want to feel
feelings.
He don't want to feel it.
Okay. Big Ed, comma. I want to feel.
Different
But if this is just a well-written tale, which, while entertaining, offers no insight into the workings of the mind of an elderly man attached to the sea like it's his first, or possibly second, or most likely third wife, I'm not too interested in reading it. I only want to read, right now, that which makes me understand my grandfather more. I struggle to find such books.
Well, that's letter, all right. That's
well,
a doozy particular.
Yeah, but I kind of feel, there's just something about this letter. It's just sort of, by the time it took him to craft, and this is a well-crafted letter, email. By the time somebody wrote this and copy edited it and then sat on it overnight and then did a couple edits before they sent it off, they could have just read the novel.
Yeah, 120 pages.
And the second, the attitude of this guy, I'm wondering if his grandfather's love of the sea was because it was, the sea was the only thing that he could put between himself and his grandson.
That's a savage burn right there.
I know that's a little harsh, but that's
my take on this. I got to say this author here is one heck of a pill. You know what I mean? I don't know if somebody that annoying could live. My point is, Ed, I think he's pulling your lariat. I don't think this is a full verity. You know what I mean? I think there's some chicanery, literary wise, going on here.
All right, I can see it. They're just sort of paralleling their grandfather with. Yeah, I can see it now. I think this is somebody just having one over on us, pulling the wool. What's
he's yanking the carpet right out from under that truck you've been working on, and it's up on jack stands and ain't got no wheels. If you're under it, those axles are going to break your dang neck. You know what I mean? There's nothing nice about that.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Good for you.
All right, I'm going to have another pepper.
Now you'll understand.
Because I feel like my colon's doing pretty good. Doc Maynard's pepper, he's a real doctor. And his peppers are a curative. For what? I don't really know. But he said don't eat more than 2 or 3 of these at a time.
How many you had today?
I had 2 before the show. I'm on my 4th one. So
all right.
There is like a burning, sort of like on my leftish kind of side. I'm sure it's nothing.
When you start hearing colors, let me know. And I'll call Doc Maynard.
All right. Very quickly. We don't have
You know what? We ain't got nobody watching today, apparently.
Yeah, we have...
the ham ain't been spinning the whole time.
Normally,
this has got to be a record. This is the longest we've ever gone without spinning that ham.
You know, normally we have two super fans who are on the watch for the spinning ham. Roger C. Adams from Manhattan, Kansas, and Rick Marquardt from Cincinnati, Ohio, or Northern Kentucky. I can't remember the name of the town.
Thanks for nothing.
And
boys.
I went to college there, Northern Kentucky, Highland Heights, and I can't remember the name of the town.
Ed went to a college once. Didn't much care.
But the two of them usually catch us when we haven't got the ham rotating, and I'm still waiting for the battery to die on this thing.
I ain't changed this, but that is the original battery. That's the Virgin Edition.
But speaking of rotating hams, folks, we are sponsored by DAC Celebrity Canned Ham.
I'll face that.
All right.
There we go.
It's the finest canned ham Denmark has to offer, and I am paid modestly in ham product to say that. Cole, I can't remember. Have you ever been to Denmark?
No, but I did find myself in a dark, almost pudding-like malaise. Like you're laying in a bathtub
like
full of
a
pudding,
real
and not
deep
good
depression.
pudding,
Right.
like gross pudding. You know, it ain't got no sugar or nothing. There aren't eggs in it. I don't know how you make pudding without eggs. But you're sitting in there, and your nose is just sticking up, and you're just sort of swallowed by an abyss of darkness. It's in your ears. It's in your brain. So I feel like I've been to Denmark.
Yep.
But I don't think I've ever physically been there.
Yep. It's a state of mind.
Yeah,
and
it is.
It can be treated by antidepressants, apparently. And folks, just DAC Celebrity Canned Ham. And I have to say, every time I say DAC Celebrity Canned Ham, I have to say the full thing. DAC Celebrity Canned Ham. It's the finest canned ham Denmark has to offer. And I am paid modestly in ham product to say that. I have to say that part as well. So anyway, that was a slight tangent that we went on there. Anyway, so The Old Man and the Sea. It's their novel. I still can't get this. All right, it's good. It's good. The Old Man and the Sea. Ernest Hemingway. Cole.
Yo.
What are your thoughts on... come on in here and talk to me. What are your thoughts on The Old Man and the Sea?
All right, so Ed tells me, he says, Cole, I'm gonna read, or I've read Old Man and the Sea. It's this book by Hemingway. I said, God, Ed, I know what Old Man and the Sea is. And he says, so you're gonna have to sit down and talk about it. And I told him, well, okay, I just agreed, because I agree to most of what Ed says, and then I forget what he said. Problem here with Old Man and the Sea is I've read it, but not all of it. I read about the first 40 pages because, you see, my mother, when I was a kid, didn't want me reading Old Man and the Sea because she said it was deviant literature and that it was full of deviance and aberrance.
What kind of deviance would...
I don't know. I didn't finish the book. But, see, my mom was a nosy lady. She's always busting in on me in my room, and she says, Cole, Screaming Eagle Wilson, what are you doing? And what are you reading? And what are you thinking? And what did you just set on fire? And who'd you steal it from? And I said, Mom, I got to live my own life. You understand? Like, I got to burn things, and I got to read things, and I got to think things. So one day, I'm just setting the scene there. This is the kind of relationship we had. One day, I went down to the library, and I picked up a used copy of Ernest Hemingway's The Old Man and the Sea, because it had, how I like books about ships, right? Turns out it's a dinghy.
It's a small fish.
Yeah, but it's a small book, so what are you going to do? And I come home and I'm reading it, and my mom, she busts the door and she said, Cole, what are you reading? And she rips it out of my hand and she says, oh, The Old Man and the Sea. I'm not going to have you reading this filth. And then she opens at random to a page, and I still remember the selection, and she just says, I'm just going to read something at random, and I'm going to read it the way she read it, so you understand what she was thinking.
All right.
She says, he rested for what he believed to be 2 hours. The moon did not rise now until late, and he had no way of judging the time. Nor was he really resting, except comparatively. He was still hearing the pull, bearing the pull of the fish across his shoulders, but placed his left hand on the gunwale of the bow, and confided more and more of the resistance to the fish to the skiff. And she threw it. She threw it right out the window, and she said, no son of mine is going to be reading such suggestive literature. And I said, "Ma, suggestive of what?" And she says, "I ain't suggesting nothing." And I said, "What ain't you suggesting?" She said, "Cole, I ain't gonna fall for this again. This is how you tricked me into telling you who shot J.R." What were we talking about?
The Old Man in the Sea. And
oh yeah, so
apparently how it was dirty or something.
Well, years later, I discovered that she thought all that bow and fish and left hand and not really sleeping and you got young eyes even though you got a wrinkled neck was some sort of euphemism for deviant body adult behavior. Which it ain't. I mean, well, at least not in the first 40 pages.
Well, you're about halfway through, and it's there's nothing deviant about the last half of the book.
Unless he lands that skiff on some international waters bordello where they're gambling, I don't think anything untoward's going to happen.
Nothing like that. I think that's a Carl Hyacin book. Anyway, that's
never heard of it.
Dumb reference. Anyway, so
point is, I don't have any thoughts on this book, primarily not just because of the psychic wounds that it holds, but primarily because I just finished East of Eden, and it's crawled up in both of my ears like two earwigs that then had families of earwigs, and they won't get out of my brain. I'm like Tom Hamilton, like Samuel's, the big one who's going to take over the ranch.
No idea where we're going here.
Just can't. Are we ever going to talk about East of Eden? You were in my ear about this for month after month, which is why I read it.
Well,
it's about 8 times longer than this one. I would say it's... and I can't get rid of it. 15, I can't get it out.
Yeah, I can't imagine that you read East of Eden, which I'm pretty sure is probably 15 to 16 times as long as The Old Man. Actually, I'm going to say it's just 20 times as long.
Yeah, it's got really big print.
It's a big print. Anyway, we will talk about East of Eden
we got to do it in the next couple of months, or otherwise I'm going to...
Sometime in the summer.
Move to Valley,
We'll go to
California
Monterey, we'll go to
Castroville,
and we'll just have a vacation there.
Are we going to bring this turkey out? Or?
Oh, right. We have a...
Yeah, sorry about
that. Folks and special guest, I'd like to apologize.
He's over there. He's got both cheeks are asleep. He's been sitting for...
All right, I'm going to kick you out of here so we can make room.
All right, I'm going to make room.
For our special guest. Folks, when we have special guests, we usually try not to make them wait too long before we
always try, and we never succeed, is what you're saying.
And in the spirit of The Old Man in the Sea and the title of this episode, The Old Man in the Seafood Truck, we're going to find out why all that is in just, I'm going to say, 12 seconds. Our special guest tonight is the owner and chef de cuisine of Literary Aquatic Culinary Experiences, Mr. Tom Mounsey. And come on in here. We don't have an applause machine or anything, but give you a little bit...
Thank you. It is so very good to be here, biggest aid. But please, call me Santiago.
Okay, sure. So Santiago, welcome. Cheers. I see you're enjoying some Rainier.
Yes, thank you very much.
Now, I know what it is, Literary Aquatic Culinary Experiences, but can you explain to the folks who are watching what exactly that is?
Yes, of course. Literary Aquatic Culinary Experiences, or LACE, as I call it, is a holding company under which I own many small businesses. Food carts, pop-up restaurants, fish trucks, all of which serve the most delicious freshwater fish, seafood, shellfish, and sometimes even food from the land.
But that's not just all of it, right? These things have a sort of a special twist.
Yes, biggest Ed, you are correct. Each dining experience is presented from the point of view of a different literary sea captain or other seaman.
So, just,
But it's a ridiculous job title.
He's just being
captain?
Seaman.
For example, today, you see I am here as the humble Santiago, a Cubano fisherman down on his luck, fishless, struggling with the very sense of his own mortality, his limits of his body, his hands torn to pieces from handling fishing lines all day and night. And it is as Santiago that I try to sell marlin and albacore from my current venture, The Old Man and the Seafood Truck. But times are very hard at the moment.
Really?
Yes, I have not had a customer for 84 days.
Well,
That's why they call it fishing and not catching.
I suppose so.
So, hey, hold on. Can I interject it? So
I can't stop you.
When you say you got a seafood truck, are you talking about like a late '80s Ford F-150 or maybe a Ranchero or maybe one of them Subaru Brats? You know what I mean, right? But it's got a lot of body damage and rust, and the tailgate's missing. But it does have a bumper sticker that says "Hoof Arted," right? But in the back of it is a bunch of borrowed igloo coolers, and they're full of all mess of dead sea life that you can buy for however much you can haggle for. Is that what you're talking about, seafood truck?
No. I mean like a food cart. But it is a truck from which I sell my fish.
Got it, okay.
When I have.
Yeah,
fish.
because it's not catching.
It is a rough life as a solitary fisherman.
And the Old Man in the Seafood Truck is just one of several different ventures that you've launched.
Yes. I've also appeared as Captain Remish at the Hunt for Bread October, the only food cart around that serves Russian ushka soup from a bowl made of bread.
Re-verify our hunger for soup. One bowl only.
Give me a bowl, Vasily. One bowl only. Did I sound like Bane there? I know.
I love Bane in that movie. He's stuck. He's got the mask and he's stuck in that iron tube underwater, and then Sean Connery beats him up.
Give me a bowl of clam chowder, Miss Moneypenny. Is that better, or is that still like Bane, like an old Bane? I don't know.
Cover your mouth when you do that. See what happens.
I also had my long run as Captain Pugwash at a food cart called the Black Pig, serving barbecue pork. It's a bit of a deep cut. It's a British children's show, not familiar to many Americans. Oh, that's a bit of a deep cut is also what I would say when serving a particularly large portion of pork.
Sweep me chimney, swab me deck, give me a kiss, love, right on the neck.
Codling cuttlefish, Cole. Captain Pugwash would never say that.
No.
Oh, how about this? Have you ever thought of doing one called the Pho Seidon Adventure? Yeah. So that's and you would serve that Vietnamese noodle soup that's got all that savory goodness in it, but you bring it to the table or you serve it in a bowl, and as soon as you try and take a bite, the whole thing just flips over and starts sinking.
And before you can actually eat it, you need an acetylene torch and Gene Hackman to sacrifice himself before you can actually eat some of your soup.
Yeah, you got to cut through the hole, but then when you get to all the good bits, they're all already drowned or they've had their essences changed forever.
And you've got your pick
like Ernest Borgnine.
Like
right?
you could do an Ernest Borgnine or Shelley Winters.
That movie was a turning point. That was a turning point. That was a great descent that ended.
I have not
with
and will not be considering that.
We got a little carried away there.
Okay.
Soup just everywhere. That would be terrible.
Upside down bowl. Well, you'd have to flip it over in the water.
But the list of accomplishments has been impressive. I'm just going to look at your resume here for a second. I remember there's Ahab's Peg of Lamb, Horatio Cornblower's Chowder, Colonel Kurtz's Artichoke Hearts of Darkness Salad Bar.
Oh, that sounds dark.
And Jack Aubrey's Taster and Commander.
Taster and Commander. I like that one.
I've tried a few things, but not all of them are very successful or really well executed.
What happened here?
You lost your accent.
Oh, Jace, I try not to do accents unless I am actually inhabiting a character, performing as that character in the moment. I am not interested in appropriating anything from other cultures.
Cool, but it's back now.
Yeah, the accent is back now.
Yes. Sometimes it gets flipped.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
So, Tom,
yes.
The Old Man in the Seafood Truck, The Old Man in the Sea. What are your thoughts about The Old Man in the Sea?
Well, that is a really funny thing, and I was pleased to hear I'm not alone in this. I actually have not read it.
That is funny.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
I was in the room once when the Spencer Tracy movie was on, so I caught some of that, and
that's a good movie.
I read about it a bit on Wikipedia, so that's
all right.
Yeah, you've read it, right? So what are you?
I have read it.
What can you tell me?
Hey Ed, what are your thoughts on The Old Man in the Sea by Ernest P. Hemingway?
Well, I mean, if you've read the Wikipedia article and you've seen the Spencer Tracy movie, you've probably reeled in most of what the book is about.
Well, let me tell you what I know. There's an old man, and the sea is involved.
Sea's involved.
And not or. You ain't got a choice. They're both there.
Yeah. My thoughts on it, when and Cole knows this. When I talk about books, I usually don't talk about plot or what the story is. I talk about
he makes it about him.
Themes and thanks. I mean, my thoughts on The Old Man and the Sea. I'm going to say they are. Well, I was going to say they were conflicted, but they were actually just sort of short-sighted. I mean, I love the book. Don't get me wrong; it's a classic. It won the Pulitzer. It's an easy read, and I think it's short, and I think it's a great way for teachers and school boards to say, "Hey, we taught these kids a classic story."
Sure, that's an easy win. Yeah,
it is an easy win, and that's where I have nothing against easy wins. But my problem with The Old Man and the Sea is not the story itself or Hemingway or anything like that. I'm not quite sure why it's taught in middle school or high school. Yes, it's a quick and easy win for teachers to teach this.
You don't think those kids are going to connect with it, or?
Well, no. That's the exact problem. I mean, middle schoolers and high schoolers. They're not going to...
The decline of the fishing industry. They don't
know about that. They don't know anything, they have, hopefully they're not dealing with aging and mortality as teens. The fact that life is a marathon and not a sprint, unless you're an Olympic gold medalist in track and field, your life might be made of
several sprints.
Right. But it's still a marathon.
Enough to make a marathon.
And,
miles.
There's certainly... kids are not going to connect with the fact that many of life's smallest gifts are some of its biggest treasures. And my wife heard me saying all this stuff because she was walking. I was in the shower and she just walked by and she heard me. She's like, "Who are you talking to?"
Ed, don't sing in the shower.
And I said,
"Expostulates."
I like to vocalize my thoughts in the shower. And she said, "Big head." I do have a big.
She does call him that. And the first time she called him that, I almost fell over, and I'm gonna fall over now. And she ain't even here. Look at the dome on that one.
Yep. But this morning she said, "Big Ed, you're just being short-sighted and wrong-headed on this."
Wrong-headed and big-headed.
Kids, it's tough being a teacher. With all the work and the requirements, the obstacles and the low pay and everything that's just getting thrown at you when you're a teacher. So if teachers want to lean on Ernest Hemingway a little bit, they should go for it.
Yeah.
And the fact that some of this stuff doesn't resonate with kids is just fine. Teachers don't have to connect the dots for kids. Kids should connect the dots for themselves.
Teachers just got to give them the dots.
Adults as well. The teacher just has to give them the dots.
Gotcha.
And whether kids connect the dots in the moment or whether adults connect the dots in the moment or years later, the teacher's doing their job. And, whether, because we've all had these adult experiences where, holy cow, how did I miss this? Sure. Epiphanies, where something that a teacher... Or, maybe if it's even a minister or, something like that. Somebody in your life said something.
That seed was planted.
And it was lost on you.
Yeah, it took a while.
But, later on you connected the dots and, you had that moment. And then the pearl that she dropped on me then was she was like, "Big Ed Barnum, if anything, The Old Man and the Sea is a metaphor for being a teacher. You go to work every day. You do the work.
Do the work.
And sometimes the fish just don't bite." I almost went into like a Sean Connery thing.
Sometimes
I'm going to say it again
because it sinks. Yeah, just like being a teacher.
Just like being a teacher.
And then you got to wait around for the Coast Guard for 2-3 hours.
Is there any more Rainier over there?
What?
Is there any more Rainier over there? I don't need any. So I forgot where we are.
To teachers.
To teachers.
I'm empty, but...
and it sounds like I should read The Old Man and the Sea.
Yeah.
You should. I have a feeling you can read The Old Man and the Sea. I'm going to say 36 minutes.
36
Or
minutes.
you could wait for it, listen to it. Right.
Oh, right. So, I do challenge you to read it.
Okay.
Cole, you said have you read the
I'm gonna
first?
finish it.
Have you read the first half or the second
Oh
half?
man, I got it at maximum 85 minutes of reading left to do on this thing.
All right. And then, folks out there who are watching this, I challenge you to read it as well. Or, because you're here with us tonight, you can also listen to it. Because we have, by way of the magic of vinyl, we have Charleton Heston reading Ernest Hemingway's The Old Man and the Sea. And there's a photo here of it's blown out in the light here, but that's fine.
You want me to turn this up to 72 so we can get all the way through it?
No, we're just going to get a little taste here. Anyway, I have no idea if we're plugged in.
A little oral sample.
But this is one of the nicest vinyl records I have. There's some illustrations in here.
Holding his glass and thinking of many years ago. Can I go out and get sardines for you for tomorrow?
I love sardines.
I do too.
I love white, bocarones.
What side is this? Because I don't want to ruin it. No spoilers.
Good point.
Well, I gave you side 1 and 4.
In some way. You bought me a beer, the old
I've heard this part.
I think
I mean,
this
I
is,
read it. I
think
heard
this is
it.
early
I'll
on.
just look forward to it.
I heard it in my mind's record player while I was reading it.
Now, speaking of sardines, have you guys had dinner? 'Cause
I am
have not-
starving.
Well, I had an egg and 3 peppers, but I'm always up for
I
dinner.
brought
We got
something.
food?
What did you bring?
Something?
Oh, did you bring us marlin?
I can remember
I've
I've never had marlin either. Here,
I've
shove
never
over.
had-
I'm okay. Let's get tied up in
I've
there.
never had marlin.
There's a small chance that there might be some marlin in this.
How small a chance?
Maybe a percent, less than a percent.
Okay, that's something. That's something to hope for.
Ooh, I can smell it.
Is it like a
Hey, is that a previously frozen and now still frozen breaded condensed fish byproduct?
You're right, Cole. That's
Yeah,
what it is.
and it's Gordon's too. It
It's
ain't
Gordon's.
Bandicam.
No,
It ain't Bandicam.
I
You
bring
can
the good
trust
stuff.
a Gordon's fisherman. So let's eat them up.
do have a couple of plates.
Oh, yeah.
Is this what you serve at your food cart?
It might be if anyone ever came to my food cart.
Yeah, that might be why you ain't had any customers in 84 days.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's mostly breading, but oh, there's a good one.
Cole, can you stage that over there with the old man and the sea over there on the?
You want me to face this?
No.
Oh,
on that
there
other
we go.
camera.
There we
on that other
go.
camera.
We might have to move our.
Charlton Heston has been bumped before.
It's really a shame we don't have
What?
smell-o-vision
What?
because
Oh, that smells
No
good.
idea.
That smells like some kind of fish product.
I'm pretty sure.
No loss of true pride. Tomorrow is going to
That
be a
is
good day.
that is mostly breading
It is.
with a
you're going
ocean
for it.
essence.
I'm not sure that's ocean essence as much as it is just
Salt.
water.
Salt.
Try to get him to work
And
for
the,
us, the boy said. Then if you
Excretions of animals essence. Is what I'm going
not
for.
like to work.
Folks, we're about to hit the 38-minute mark. I apologize for the technical difficulty we had early on. If you
That
watch
was
this,
your fault.
if you watch this later, all the videos recorded discreetly on all these devices, so we'll be able to push the full episode up without those technical difficulties later. I want to say a couple of thank yous. I want to thank Kimberly Berry and, of course, Tom Mounsey for helping make this episode possible. I also want to wish a happy birthday to Kate Garrison. She is a super fan.
Happy birthday!
of
Yeah,
just-
Kate Garrison. Hey,
She's a super fan of just about everything that the three
and a
of us
super
do.
lady, as far as I can tell.
And a super lady,
Yeah.
and I am a super fan of hers as well. And I hope when she sees this, I think.
she's seeing it right now.
Well, she was seeing part of it, and then
Okay.
she sent me a message in the middle of it saying that I think she's got a hot date for her birthday. So she's going to be watching some of this later. Anyway, I think that's it. I'm Big Ed Barnum.
I am Cole, Screaming Eagle Wilson.
And I'm Tom Santiago Mounsey.
How'd you do that with your voice?
I don't know.
Thank you very much. Hey, we crushed it that
We
time.
finally
Good
got
work.
it, yeah.
Good work.
I ain't gonna argue, I ain't gonna fight. I give up doing the other night. Everything's wrong, everything stinks. The only thing that broke a hallelujah is the kitchen sink.
flattened, overlapping, sturdy fiber.
That is.
Picture in color of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. Another of the Virgin of Hope. Over relics of his wife.
I didn't think.
Because it made me too lonely to see it.
I finally get it.
You look at it and you say no.
What's
You taste it and you say,
It's worth the wait.
oh,
80 to 90 days.
No, I will eat.
Tastes like fresh.
Do you want to protect the fire?
and it's so smooth. There ain't no clam consistency at all.
There's
It's just mostly mush. It's delicious. Delicious.
goes in that way, comes out that way.
Middle of this
Great
one was
for
still
you.
kind of frozen.
It's just in free fall. you
This
know?
is
Every day.
the best fish
Yellow rice and fish in the boiling.
I have ever had.
Yeah.
85
Easily.
is a lucky number.
Hey, is that the FedEx man?